All right. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Get settled in. We are so excited.
We could not be more excited to have you all here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know there's going to be a ton of folks jumping in the room right now. We'll give everyone just a minute or two to go ahead and get settled. But thank you all so much for being here. We'll say that a couple of times, I'm sure, but thank you, thank you, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us. We could not be more excited to talk about Dubsado 3.0. But while we're getting settled, while we're waiting, I know people are going to be jumping in. Like I said, we'll give it a minute or two. Let us
Hot,
know in the chat.
hot debate here.
Yeah, we right before we went live, we were debating, Joey and I, who our favorite Game of Thrones character is. So if you are a fan of the show, let us know who your favorite Game of Thrones character is. If you've never seen Game of Thrones, no problem whatsoever. Please just drop us a hello in the chat or let us know where you're coming from. And
Can't go
hopefully you're doing
wrong
a good
with
time.
Danny.
Got
Dragons.
Dan, Dragons, nice.
I
Juliana says from Virginia, nice. Hi, Juliana.
got Rachel out in North Carolina.
That's probably kind of hard for you to see here, Joe. Do that right
No,
now. There
thank
you
you.
go.
Can't go wrong with Khaleesi.
Spokane, we got people coming in from everywhere. That's always my favorite thing about doing these webinars and demos is seeing such a wide variety of places. But thank you all so, so much for being here. I still see the attendee number going up. So like I said, I want to make sure everybody who joins us live today is able to do
Yeah.
so from the very beginning. So we'll give it just a minute, folks. And if you're just jumping in, we asked who your favorite Game of Thrones character is, if you have one. And if you don't have one, that's totally fine. Let us know where you are joining us from, wherever you are in the world. Brisbane, Australia, amazing, fantastic. Hi, Helene.
I will also say I don't want to understate this. I realize that sometimes, especially going into Q4, in Q4 actually,
Mhm.
just asking for an hour of your work week is sometimes a big ask. So thank you for prioritizing this above all else. So we
Yeah.
do appreciate you just prioritizing some time for Dubsado.
Yeah, no, we really, really do appreciate y'all being here. Fantastic. I still see that number going up. We're 2 minutes in. I want to make sure we are respectful of everyone's time. So why don't we go
Yeah.
ahead and get going here, Joe?
Yes, let us officially start.
Fantastic. Cool.
Um, Disclaimer on questions.
Yes. So while we were chatting and showing showing everybody what's going on in Dubsado 3.0, please, by all means, feel free to use the chat just as most of you were doing just now. Ask questions if you'd like. But if you have questions that you'd like us to answer at the end during our live Q&A, I would encourage you to use the actual bespoke Q&A button in Zoom. Since we know there's gonna be a lot of people in this session today, so it might be a little bit difficult to keep track of your questions in the chats. If you have a question that you think would be good one for us to answer, throw that in the Q&A. We've got Annie, Angelina, and Angela all keeping an eye on the chat. So if you have quick questions, they might be able to help you out there in the chats. But they're going to be pulling questions from the chats and Q&A for us to answer at the end. So like I said, we're going to do our full demo,
Yep.
and then we will get to all the questions in a nice chunk of time at the end of our demo. But before we do that, though, why don't we go ahead and let's
Properly.
do it? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
So welcome everyone officially, especially folks that are just joining. This is our Dubsado 3.0 in action. My name is Joey.
And my name is Trevor.
We are so excited to dig in. By the way, Tyrion Lannister is the right answer. I appreciate that, Jonathan and Elizabeth.
If you're just joining us, we'd asked who your favorite Game of Thrones character was.
Anyways, we are so excited to dig in, regardless of if you're an existing Dubsado user, maybe you're a bit greener. There's something here for you. We are so excited to show you all the bells and whistles, point out some of our favorites.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So without further ado, we are going to go ahead and screen share our demo accounts and we'll get right into it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and do it. Cool. Somebody let me know in the chat if you would kindly, if you can see my screen coming through. My full screen. See my mouse moving around on our beautiful, brand new homepage.
Here we are.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody who just confirmed that. I appreciate that.
Small.
I think we're good. Okay, fantastic. Sweet. So we're jumping right into it, folks. When you first log into the brand new Dubsado 3.0, you're going to land on this gorgeous dashboard. This is our homepage, and it has a ton of useful information for you right at a glance, similar to what we used to have in Dubsado 2.0, but with a lot more cool features, honestly. And it's a place where you can get information about your business at a glance, but it's also a place where you can take action very quickly. And right here at the very top, we have this handy dandy widgets, is what we've called these things here on the homepage. It's a waiting on you section. So if you have any flow actions that are waiting for your approval, you can click those with one click and send that next action off into the sunset very easily. And likewise, you can go ahead and click countersign right from here to automatically add your signature to a contract that's waiting for a counter signature. So right out the gate, you can go ahead and take care of things that need to get taken care of very easily using this widget here. And I'll scroll down and show you guys the full page here, right? So we have a recently visited section for any pages within Dubsado that you were recently viewing for your quick access, as well as recent form activity. Further down, we have an events section, which is really nice, quick overview of what's going on in your calendar and kind of what dates are upcoming. We next have a full view of all of your projects and invoices in this table view here, so you can quickly click on any of these items to go straight there. And I will mention too, Joe, that, we can click on these hyperlinks here at the top of each of these widgets to go straight to that area. So the homepage, I like to call it like kind of a launch pad. You can kind of get to almost anywhere in the site from the homepage, which is really handy.
Access. Yep.
Further down, we've got some tasks. You can check tasks off right from here. We also have financial reports and your project reports. And I will note about these two reporting areas, right? We've got this nice pretty graph. The default here is the last 30 days, but if you want to, see a different time range, it's going to affect that graph there. So we can see a longer snapshot of time. Just pick your date time, your date range here by clicking on the dates. Same thing for your project reports.
Now, what I would like to say about our general philosophy about 3.0 is this entire facelift redesign, so to speak, is meant to be modular.
Exactly.
So this concept is making sure that on a day-to-day level as a business owner, you have full creative control to understand how can I personalize my workspace to serve my purposes.
Yeah, exactly right. And so in service of that, up here in the top right-hand corner, we have the display settings. And I want to leave my mouse there so you guys can see and kind of really hone in on that icon there. That display setting icon is in so many different places within Dubsado because there is so many different ways you can kind of view your content and organize your layout in a way that works for you. So in this particular case on the homepage, if I click that display settings icon, I have the ability to turn on or off a variety of widgets on the homepage here. I can click the eye icon to go ahead and remove the weight menu section. Maybe I don't need that section, right? I can also go ahead and turn it back on. I can drag and drop these properties here if I want to rearrange my homepage, which is really nifty. Maybe I want to have recently visited here at the top and then have my waiting on you section further down. Totally fine.
Love that.
So, like I said, in a variety of places, you can use these display settings and make it your own.
Now, so the dashboard is fantastic. Quick access, customizable modals, etc. What we are now going to dig into is the 3.0 version of the project dashboard. I am so excited to dig into this in the spirit of customization, making your workspace yours. We're going to show you all those cool details.
Exactly right.
So clicking on the left side main menu, you've got the projects here. Now, if you are already a Dubsado user, one of the things that I would call out is that this should feel very, very similar to what you're already using on the 2.0 version. I'm going to give this a moment to load real quick.
There we go. Our internet up here is not quite the best.
Yeah.
Cool. Go ahead, Joe.
So what I'll say to this is very similar again to what you might already be used to. We want things to be easy to access, editable inline, and as customizable as possible. From a philosophical standpoint, the project dashboard, as you know, is like your central hub for understanding for everything that's on my plate, for what my current business looks like. Who do I need to pay attention to? Where are all the folks in my pipeline? What do I need to cater to? So a few things we're going to hammer this point.
Yeah, exactly.
There are your filter settings on the top left of likely every screen, and then your display settings on the top right of every screen.
Yep.
I will note we are board folks ourselves,
Yeah.
But if you have a preference for seeing things in table view, you have that creative control, and it will save to whatever your preference is. You can group by different things. You can add or remove visibility. Before I dig into some of the other logistics, one of the things that I think is worth pointing out is inline editing on the project itself.
That's one of my favorite things. It's super easy to just get into the projects page, make a really quick change. You don't even have to go into the project.
You don't.
I mean, you can easily change a project status. You can change a date. You can change tags, assignees. Any of these things can be clicked right on the card, and you don't have to go into the project, which is super nifty, right? You can click on this guy. You can pick a different status. Easy peasy. And then my other favorite thing, in board view, we can go ahead and drag a card into a different column, and voila, we've dragged it into the deposit paid. Currently, right, I'm viewing my board view in my statuses, right, by status, but I could group by, tags, or I could group by assignee, and if I drag it, it's going to change the data, right? So I've just moved it into the status, or if I had a tag, it would add the tag. If I moved it into a different column, whatever you want to do there, it's super easy to manipulate this page, and you can work very quickly.
And what I will say, if you're wondering, how do I customize again? I used to say customize. The manage button on the top right is now how you would do that. As a refresher, the intent of the project statuses is to reflect more or less your entire client journey.
Exactly.
So from inquiry until final payment and beyond, what are those milestones? What are the stages of progress that you as a business owner want to gauge where everyone's at in the mix? Create those project statuses accordingly. Now, in a different way, we've got tags for labeling and categorizing. Anything, inquiry types, client types, special traits, characteristics, all of that. one of the things you can do in line. You can add a tag here if you'd like to add or remove an existing tag, etc. So do know all of the same function, but much, much more customizable, much more personalized for your preference.
Exactly right. And just as a quick caveat, right? This is my demo account, my fictitious
Yeah,
web design business. So your statuses and your tags likely are going to be different than mine, and that's
yeah,
totally okay. There are no wrong answers as far as your statuses, your tags, how you like to view Dubsado. It's entirely to your preference,
exactly.
which I think is beautiful. Cool. So I think let's go ahead and jump into a project, yeah?
Let's do that.
Sweet. So now that we've kind of gotten a handle on how our projects can be organized, obviously in a variety of ways, let's take a look inside of maybe Olivia Turner's project here. Now, for those of you who have been with Dubsado for a little while, this probably looks familiar, but also importantly different, right? We have, firstly, here on the left-hand side, this Details tab, which I can actually choose to expand it to a full-page view if I want to. And I can see all of the info for my project, all of my client info, portal information, as well as the activity tracker here. So we can see everything that's been done in this project and who did it, especially handy if you have teammates, right?
Yep.
Now, the nifty thing about this page here, I already talked about how you can expand it, we can contract it. Before we do that, though, I can actually customize this to my liking. And this is just for me as a business owner. The client will never know that I've gone ahead and put a smiley face for Olivia Turner or maybe changed the color here at the top. But I can customize this to my liking if I want to maybe make it a little bit easier for me to differentiate between projects. And it's just fun, right? It's just cool to have. But anyways, if I want to go ahead and collapse this, I can click the arrow one more time. Now it's kind of locked here in the sidebar, so I can go ahead and click through my other tabs and still reference the other information that I might want to have at hand while I'm working. I could even go so far as to collapse the sidebar entirely if I wanted to, right? That gives me a nice full view of my screen if I'm maybe working with like a form, for example, right? It can be really handy to do it like that.
What I
So,
will say too is I know we've got folks that work on the go, maybe smaller screen sizes, things like that.
exactly right. So what Joey's referencing is that the view of your projects will sometimes change if your screen is on a slightly narrower view. And I'll show you that in just a moment. But over here on the left-hand side within each tab, right, we have messaging, invoices, tasks, events, forms, flows, and notes. All of those areas have their own sub-menu. In this case, we have inbox, sent, archived, and unread for all of our different inbox views, right? If I actually have a slightly smaller screen, and I'll emulate that by going ahead and zooming in a little bit, you'll see that that submenu goes behind the inbox tag here. So all you have to do is click that caret icon to access that same exact submenu. It just depends on how wide your screen is. And you'll notice here as well, we have a nice compose button in the bottom right. If I go back to my full screen view, a little too far back out, the compose button comes back here in the top left.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, in Dubsado 3.0, we have lots of colorful buttons that will help you figure out kind of where you are and what to do on a certain page. And they're nicely color coded. I like to do this, right? To take my mouse across the top of the page. It's kind of like taking your fingers down the piano if you do this. All our different color coding, the nice little rainbow we have here at the top, and it's pretty subtle. It's not too colorful. I like it a lot. Where messages is blue, invoicing is green, for example, really helps you know where you're at and always look for those colorful buttons. And speaking of knowing where you're at, breadcrumbs at the very top of the page here. If you ever are wondering to yourself, okay, where am I exactly? I'm not quite sure. Take a look at the top of your page. It's always going to mention your current workspace's logo. So right now I have my little W's there. If you can see that, my 3 Ws design. Next up is the parent page, followed by the sub page that you're in right now. So it's super handy to use to reference those breadcrumbs if you're ever kind of wondering where you're at.
I will hammer this once again. Even in a project view, you can customize the filter and display of every single tab. So it
Exactly.
is truly, it's going to save your preferences, by the way. So whatever you leave it at is what it will remain as.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, right now I have this details tab. If I want to go ahead and like put it back in this area, if I go back to projects page and maybe I'm kind of doing something else and I come back, it's going to remember that I had it collapsed. But if you're a full screen person, totally fine. I leave it in full screen. I'm doing my work. I leave the page, come back into this project. It's still full screen. So it's going to remember what you like and just do whatever makes the most sense for you.
I'll say the only other thing I can think of is the activity log has a nice new home here in the project profile. This is especially helpful for collaborative purposes if you're working in a team-based capacity, a running log of every action that took place with this particular project.
Yeah, just super handy, especially if you have teammates rather. Cool. So before we kind of jump into the rest of the kind of navigation features of Dubsado, I want to call out to you all that we made a kind of significant change in the sense that, we have our same project tabs like we always have, but we also have access to our templates for each action essentially in the project. So right now I'm in the messages tab of a project, but I still have access to my custom email templates. Likewise, if I go to forms, I have access to all of my form templates right here. So they're accessible in more than one place. They're here in the project, in each project. and they're accessible in each of their main app areas here in the left-hand sidebar. And we're going to talk about all of these in just a moment here. But I wanted to call that out since that is significantly different than what you may be accustomed to if you're using Dubsado 2.0.
It is. We basically made it to where no matter what screen you're in, you'll have access to what you need.
Exactly right.
Now, speaking of apps, apps are these hubs that you're seeing on the left side menu. One thing I do want to call out is that you can choose whether or not you'd like to lock this main menu sidebar in place, or if you want to leave it collapsed. You'll notice if you hover over the top left icon, you'll always be able to see it, so it's never actually gone.
Yep. Like most things in Dubsado, it is customizable and you can do what works for you.
Yeah. So speaking towards these apps, this is going to allow us to talk a little bit about how we improved our functionality around templates. In general, just like a really quick overview of templates, as you all already know, the whole intent is you'll put in the work to build out your template base, your email templates, form templates, etc. And you can use those over and over again to service your clients forever.
Yep.
Now,
Exactly right.
start with messages.
Yeah, let's do messages. So here on the left, right, this left hand being your main navigation. So in the main messages area, right, here's our master inbox, essentially. We finally have a proper inbox, which is fantastic. So we land on this default inbox view that's showing us all threads where we've received at least one message. And that includes both messages that are assigned to a project and messages that are not assigned to a project. As we can see here, this is sort of just a notification email, obviously, but it's not assigned to a project. I could easily go ahead and assign this to a project if I wanted to.
And our favorite thing.
Conversely, right, if I go ahead and say, yeah, this is assigned to a project, it's assigned to Olivia Turner's project, I can go ahead and reassign or remove the project entirely if I want to. Just click the ellipses icon right there to either remove it or move it around to a different project. Since we know that, your work will evolve as things happen. You might need to shuffle some stuff around. Super easy to go ahead and do that.
Pretty sweet.
Exactly. So if I go ahead and click down in the bottom of this current thread, I can go ahead and start typing a reply, and it is going to automatically save my draft, which is really handy if I need to, compose part of something and then come back. Super easy to just type out something. And this is one of your favorite things, which is that you can kind of do a lot of things in Dubsado from a variety of places. Yes. And so, for example, if I click compose in the top left to start writing a new email, firstly, our new email composer is fantastic. You can drag it around, you can resize it, you can minimize it even. It will follow you around. If I'm like, cool, I want to have this email open and actually I need to go to projects and take a look at something. It's still here. It's still here. It's going to stay wherever it follows you. It is that puppy that wants to be loved.
Exactly. Literally, especially when you have like email copy in your brain, you're like, I need to get this in a draft,
yep.
but I can't.
You just gotta put it somewhere, which I love. So it's super handy dandy.
You can put all the text in the draft window.
Yep.
And on top of that, you can then assign at some point the project and the person you're sending it to.
Exactly right. So let's pretend for a moment that this was actually a nicely written email and I wanted to go ahead and send it. We've always had schedule sending, but we actually went ahead and added custom schedule sending. So I can pick any date and time that I like in the future by clicking this little up arrow in the bottom right and picking my exact date and time. Super handy dandy for your flexibility. So like you said, get the stuff on paper or digital paper and go ahead and schedule it. That way you don't have to mess with, writing it down on a piece of paper or anything like that. You can go ahead and schedule it out exactly how you want to. We mentioned it a little bit ago in the project, but we have the same views here, right? These views in the submenus are exactly the same as what you'll see in the tabs of each project. So we have a sent folder, we've got archived, we've got unread, and again, we have our custom email templates. We could go ahead and add a new email template here at the top by clicking plus, or we could go ahead and maybe update our default templates to match our brand voice, for example.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to go ahead and take it over with tasks? Yeah.
Yeah, I will say tasks, I feel like most folks know, are pretty straightforward. I will note that what is unique about tasks from Dubsado's perspective is, apart from the sweet display and filtering options, is that you can understand on a more concrete level, is the task I'm creating a general kind of internal business task? Is it something that is associated with a project? Now, when you create a task, you'll notice this sidebar on the right. You'll enter in all the details, pretty straightforward. One thing I want to call out is that if you assign a date or date range, it will be visible on the calendar, files and comments, all that good stuff. So just know that you'll have full visibility of tasks, typically as you might already know it. Last thing to call out here is that you can assign tasks amongst your team so people know who has ownership of whatever needs to be done.
Exactly right. Yep. Sweet. Let's jump on over into the events area. There's a lot to talk about here. So events is the new home of our fantastic Dubsado calendar. And I love what our team has done with this. It's super easy to view. We have really nice color coding. We default to this month view, but in the top right corner, if I want to go ahead and maybe control what kind of events I'm seeing on my calendar, I can very easily click these to remove them. Maybe I don't want to see my external calendar. Maybe I don't want to see my payments due, for example. I can customize my events here to my liking very easily. And likewise, right next to that, right, like I said, we start on the month view. I could go into week maybe if I wanted to look at my week. I could go to day, and I really like personally, I like the upcoming
This is the
events
best
view, where
one.
it's just a nice list view of like, okay, I got to pay attention to the 19th, the 24th, so on and so forth. Super duper easy.
Click on that drop down again, Trevor, so we can
Sure.
show. You'll notice there are keyboard shortcuts for month, week, day, and upcoming events, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
So I know you can't see my hands, but all I have to do is click M to go back to month. This is my right hand. Hey, let's see here. Let's see. Week. Haha. So the keyboard shortcuts are really handy. I know that a lot of people will love that. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty nifty. So otherwise, actually on the calendar, right, you can click on any day to go ahead and start adding a new internal event, lead, job, or task. If I wanted to actually click new events in the top left, it kind of gives me the same view, just a little sidebar peek here. Same situation. You can do it in multiple ways. But it's really, I think, intuitive to go ahead
Yeah.
and use your calendar nowadays. It's really awesome. So aside from your main Dubsado calendar, we also have your schedule templates in this events area. So let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule template.
They did a fantastic job
Yeah,
with this.
so if you are a Dubsado 2.0 user, this has been completely revamped compared to the beta version that used to be out there. It's so much cleaner, which I absolutely love. We have these three cards for our basic scheduler settings where we can kind of see at a glance really quickly. This is a 30-minute meeting, it's virtual, what our availability is, and the booking page, right?
Yep.
There is no clutter. We can very easily click into our availability. We can adjust our availability just by clicking on these time values here. And I think this is Joey's favorite thing.
This is.
If you have a scheduler where you're like, this is my perfect availability, I put a lot of effort into this, and I even have my date-specific hours input already, we can now copy our availability from another scheduler. So let's say my design review is exactly correct, and I want to go ahead and use that availability going forward. Just click apply, and you're done. So really, you'll only ever need to set your availability once if you kind of have consistent availability. It's super easy to do. And likewise, down here in the booking page section, I can go ahead and control maybe my window, how many days in advance I want people to book, so on and so forth.
Yep.
Then in the advanced tab, it's all the same situation, same set settings that you would be accustomed to from our old scheduler, just a lot more cleaned up, right? We can talk about like our buffer times. We can go ahead and control if there's a form or a payment. We can control our reminders, invitations, confirmations, and redirects.
My favorite is like when you're making sense of what are all the bells and whistles. I want to make sure this appointment is perfectly set up. Every card gives you exactly what you need to know to confirm or not if you need to change something.
Exactly right. Then we have all of our controls for going ahead and adding to a project up here in the top right or sharing for a public link if you need to. Super easy. Sweet. So let's talk about invoicing, Joe.
Invoicing. There's quite a bit in the invoicing, so I'm going to make sure to parse through all of it. But once again, the counter is at 4. We've got display settings and we've got filters
Counting.
all areas.
We should get a whiteboard out. Yeah, exactly.
So it will land immediately here on your invoices screen. So just so you're aware, this was previously in the reporting tab. This is just your running history of all invoices that were generated. You can filter to all, unpaid, in progress, etc. You can click new invoice from this screen directly and then associate the invoice with a contact in a project.
Yep.
Now, recurring invoices.
Yeah.
For all the folks out there that have subscription-like billing, retainer-like services, working with clients on any kind of monthly, annually, etc., we have set up a current $250 a month recurring fee.
Yeah.
Through recurring invoices.
And if you just pretend for a moment that I'm the client that is receiving these invoices, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I actually want to add some additional services to this situation. Like, can you just bill me for that?
Yeah. So in a previous iteration of Dubsado, we would have to advise you to stop the recurrence and then create a brand one anew. In this environment, in a live in-flight recurring invoice, if Trevor said, hey, I have some things I'd like to purchase, I know that's going to increase my monthly retainer, I can edit that right here now while still making sure that auto pay is enabled. There's also going to be a disclaimer to just let the client know you've made some changes.
Exactly. So to put that in plain speak, you can edit recurring autopay invoices while they're in flight. You do not need to stop them, and it will not interrupt autopay, which is just chef's kiss. I love
Chef's kiss.
Very excited about that.
Cool. Now, trailing down, we've got our transactions list. So similar to what you might have seen in the past, filter in all sorts of ways. These are all the transactions that you might have logged. Manual payments, payments via processor, expenses, etc. The time tracker. So we've actually, since the beginning of this workshop, we've been tracking our time so we know what to bill you.
Yeah, we
There's
actually we wanted to make sure we're keeping track. So right now we're at 27 minutes, and
27 minutes. We got $50 an hour, Trev.
so let's just pause and appreciate this for a moment. A big shout out to our dev
David.
David, who did a fantastic job on this feature. But if you do it, maybe you didn't even notice it. It's so subtle. It's always there in the top right, so you
Yeah.
can use the time tracker from anywhere in the platform. You can always click it open and go, actually, I want to track my time. You can quickly and easily set an hourly rate. You can name it, and you can start tracking your time right away. But what do you want to show them right here, Joe?
Yeah, my favorite thing, if you are billing by the hour in any capacity, we have something called money mode. So if you click here and you click on this
Little
piggy
piggy
bank
bank. Yeah.
icon, right now your current tab is
Yeah.
22.53. That will increase as this demo.
Well, we'll send you all a Dubsado invoice
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
fact. But
yeah,
yeah, we're
we
keeping
will.
track here.
Anyways. But we wanted to show you the time tracker. But anyways, once those items are tracked, they are all logged here. You can add them to the invoice as needed. That's pretty much it. I will say, similar to the other apps that we've disclosed on the left-hand panel, this is now where your packages and your payment plans are.
Yep.
Just as a little bit of a refresher, packages are anything that is a fixed rate, whether it's a bulk service, a whole list of a la carte items. Think of package templates as your building blocks for invoices and proposals. Similarly, payment plans, same exact concept. You can create payment plans. You can edit the ones that already exist, apply them to invoices as needed.
Exactly right. Cool. So moving on down the list here, folks, we're going to jump into the form section here on the left-hand side. And what we see right here is we now have a couple different views for you to work with as far as your forms are concerned. And in case anybody's wondering, this is also where you find your form templates. But what we're looking at right now under all forms is a view of every form that's been applied to a project. So I can very quickly and easily kind of scroll through here and see, okay, this one's been completed, this one's not sent. I can get an idea of what's going on. Like I can see, okay, great, my Olivia signed this contract. Really handy dandy to be able to kind of get an overview of all of your forms. But again, you can easily filter them down to just the sent forms if you want to, or maybe any forms that have any action that needs to be required. Really easy to kind of get an idea of, what's happening with your forms.
Yeah, it is kind of nice to have like a bulk view of forms in total, I will say.
Exactly right. And then if we want to actually take a look at our form templates, yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so similar to what you already have seen in
Mhm.
the past, this is this kind of board view of your form templates. As a reminder, each form template has its own type: contract, primary agreement, sub-agreements, anything under the sun that needs a legal signature that is not the primary contract. You got questionnaires for any kind of in-depth info gathering, proposals, which are like digital shopping carts, brochures, order sheets.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then the last one to call out, probably most important, is the lead capture form, which is sort of what kickstarts the whole journey. That is the public facing intake form that folks fill out. It creates a project. We
And
also
then,
have,
yeah, we have a brand new column here. We've always been able to upload PDFs into Dubsado, even into your form templates area, but they used to live in your questionnaires column. But now they have their own column, super easy to kind of keep everything nice and organized so they're not living with your questionnaires. They get their own
yeah,
space now. Really nifty. And I guess this is number 5 now. We have our display
display
settings in the
settings.
top right. I think, Joey and I are both board people, but if you are a table view person and you prefer
Just
spreadsheet, totally fine. You can do that. You can group by whatever you like, whatever your preference is, it will work for you.
yeah.
Fantastic. All right. And then lastly, let's go ahead and jump into flows. Flows is awesome. Flows is really something, I think. We really went ahead and kind of stripped this down and redid all of it because we have a lot of cool stuff on the horizon for flows that I know Joe wants to talk about. But here we are in flows. We're looking at our flow templates, but similar to our forms overview, we have the ability to look at all of our flows kind of in one list here. And this is definitely new, right? There was no way to kind of look at a holistic view of every flow you have active across your projects previously, but now you do. If you look over here in this column we have right here, these are all of our active flows. And you might be wondering to yourself, why are there little colored like chunks right here? What are these? At a glance, you can tell very quickly how many actions are in that flow and what their status is.
Yeah.
So since this is green, this is correlating to this already sent discovery call.
Yep.
Next one up is the call booked project status changer. It's going to wait until the appointment is booked, and that's why it's gray. And then we have a waiting for approval purple action. So even at a glance, I can tell you right now, like this particular flow for your lead capture form here, Joe, has 2 actions that have finished and one that's waiting on an approval.
Yeah.
Really super easy to go ahead and get an overview of everything that's happening in your accounts.
What I love to point out, what we are very excited to be able to iterate off of is this new approach. We're taking what we call a node-based layout. It should look similar to something like Zapier or other kind of automated functions.
Exactly.
Our ability to transform flows into this format tees us up beautifully to be able to finally implement conditional logic sooner than later.
Exactly right. And I know that that's a big ask for a lot of our users, so we're really excited to get to work on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is just such a clean view. We can very easily kind of drag these around if we need to, and we can actually add more flow actions. It's very straightforward. I think it's just very intuitive is what it is. And I know that a lot of folks want to get a lot of utility out of the automations. I mean, that is part of the main reason a lot of folks use Dubsado is to automate their work. So
Yeah.
again, flow templates being under flows if you're someone who's just looking for your templates. And yeah, I think that's most of the things we wanted to cover within all of our main app sections, right, Joe?
Yeah. I think the only other thing to call out is that these settings is in a slightly different place. It's organized a little bit differently, but it's all the same content.
Exactly right.
So on the bottom left corner, if you click on your name and your email address, you'll see that settings on the bottom pop-up. Anything client facing, anything that lands in your client's inbox is able to be branded in this submenu, business info, styling, etc. Your general brand settings, the ones that we just want to quickly call out because they're so crucial to get up and running. Emails. We've already kind of taken the step to connect our 3dubsdesign@gmail.com, but just know 3 ways to connect your email. If you have G Suite or a regular Gmail account, sign in Google. Any flavor or variety of a Microsoft platform, sign in Microsoft.
Exactly.
And then use SMTP if you're self-hosted or maybe you're using Apple. One other thing to call out, the tracking pixel.
Yep. Really handy if you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on if people have sent, or sorry, read your sent emails rather. Super handy to have that. Then of course you can go ahead and customize your email signature.
Yep.
Next up, I'll go jump into payments here. And this is just a quick PSA for anybody who is getting into 3.0 for the first time. And we're just reviewing some important settings that are just good to have for every Dubsado user. But if you're somebody who was already using 2.0, you do not need to reconfigure any of this stuff. All of your data, all of your projects, all of your clients, all of your settings will copy right over into 3.0. So just to put any fears at ease for any existing users. You do not need to, you do not need to
like, yeah.
anything. Rachel's like, let's go. Yeah, if you should be able to open 3.0 and get straight to work. Like there's nothing you should need to do that's different. But anyways, here I am on payments. Right now I'm connected with Dubsado Payments powered by Stripe, which is our most robust payment processor option with features like ACH payments, including autopay, which is really cool that you can take autopay payments on ACH.
Huge.
Klarna and Affirm Afterpay and compliance surcharging, which I could talk for days about surcharging. Yeah, I'm the surcharging guy, but it's fantastic if you live in an area or your business is located in an area where surcharging is allowable, essentially. Cool.
Quick call out to if you do choose Stripe, my favorite thing, Affirm and Klarna is fantastic for cash flow. If you know what your fiscal season looks like, if there's any other period where you're like, I'm paying a little bit closer attention to my cash flow, Affirm and Klarna is a double benefit. You get paid the entire sum immediately, but your clients also get the opportunity to self-select a payment plan.
Exactly right. And just so we make sure I'm not forgetting anything here, you can also always connect with PayPal or you can connect with Square. You cannot have Square and Stripe connected at the same time, but we do have that as an option.
Really quickly, Claire, I know we were saving questions. We do integrate with Zoom and Google Meet for video conferencing using the scheduler.
Exactly right. And speaking of like calendar and scheduling and stuff, let's talk about the calendar.
Yeah, so do know you have the ability, of course, to connect your external calendar, whatever it might be. Just know that when you happen to do so, you have to make sure to choose your sync settings. Now, by default, we would absolutely recommend choosing to import your external calendar events. Make sure that can all be visible inside of Dubsado. Conversely, if you wanted a lot of Dubsado things like a payment deadline on your, let's say, Apple Cal, go ahead and check export as well. But pretty straightforward.
Exactly right. Cool. Oh, and the last thing here, yeah, if you're someone that has multiple workspaces, firstly, you can go ahead and switch between your workspaces by clicking your brand icon in the very top corner, and hopefully you've got fewer brands than I do. You can switch workspaces that way. But you might want to go ahead and consider turning on your filter appointment availability across brands so you don't double book yourself.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, folks. We ran through a lot of that information. I know we're throwing a ton of information at you, but I do want to take a beat and just really call out to y'all that we are super excited to deliver 3.0 to all of our users, and we've been working on this for a very long time, but the commitment does not stop here. Our team is working as we speak to continue improving, continue bringing additional features to Dubsado 3.0, and the ones that we've already mentioned are on the horizon. Yeah. And I really want to encourage everybody to, if you want to keep up to date on changes and even maybe fixes if things are going wrong, to click the bottom right corner of your bubble right here and to take a look at the news tab. We're going to be posting. What's that?
I was going to say, I'd be venture to guess that within the last few hours, there's been some updates to this change.
Like here's the one from today. Yeah, exactly. So if I click on the change log, we can see everything that's been happening 2 hours ago. Becca is killing the game. So if you want to keep it up to date with all the new stuff in 3.0, and it's going to be happening quickly, so keep an eye on that news tab for any of our change logs if you want to take a look at what's going on there. Fantastic. I think that we're almost about ready for questions. Is there anything else we're missing here, Joe?
Yeah, before we wrap up, get into Q&A, anything like that, we wanted to encourage you to explore, deep dive, personalize your experience. Our whole philosophy is for everything to have its place, but everything to be customized to what your personal day-to-day workflow is. So there might be a small adjustment period. You might be kind of sorting through what are my preferences, but once you land on that sweet spot, you're going to be moving and grooving. Everything can be easy and hopefully just as much time saving as possible. So thank you for taking a look at Dubsado 3.0. Thank you for your time. We really do and genuinely appreciate it. We're coming up on 10 years as a business, so we're at a bit of an inflection point right now.
Yeah, yeah.
We've worked with so many amazing businesses of all industries, parts of the world, etc. So we will answer your questions. We've got a good amount of time left, and
Yeah,
thank
no,
you.
we would not be here without all of you.
Yeah.
So thank you all very, very much, genuinely. And thanks for coming on the ride. I mean, this is super exciting.
All
So,
right.
all right, let's go ahead and take a look at some questions. I imagine there's going to be quite a list of questions. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Yeah, you're
Right.
probably easier to do it that way. Exactly. Oh, you know what? I already sniped one of them. There we go. Somebody had asked, will my data and templates transfer to 3.0? And like I said earlier, in case you missed it, all of your data, all of your templates, all of your settings for that matter, will transfer over to Dubsado 3.0. You do not need to lift a finger. You're going to be good to go. You should be able to log into app.dubsado.com and off the races. Don't need to change a thing.
We've got another question here. Forms, proposals, contracts, and emails, does that have a tracker? Yes. So what's fantastic about the emails in general, the tracking pixel will show you not only if they had viewed the email altogether, but the last time they had viewed it, as well as any kind of asset or deliverable. Let's say it's a contract or a questionnaire. There is a natural status that you can reference inside of the Forms tab of the project, like Trevor's hovering over now, not sent, completed, viewed, etc.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Good question. Cool. We
Um,
had a question here that said, will these new features be available in Dubsado 2.0? And that's a good question. But the answer would be no. All the new stuff we're talking about is going to be available exclusively in Dubsado 3.0. This is the version of the site that we will be continuing to build out as we move forward.
yeah.
However, you will still be able to toggle back and forth between Dubsado 3.0 and 2.0 at will for some time, right? Up here at the top of the page, we have a go back to 2.0 button. If you're ever like, you know what, like I really just need to do something quickly and I don't want to take the second to kind of find it in 3.0, no problem at all. That's totally fine. We know that change can be hard, right?
Yeah.
Change can be difficult. And with how amazing Dubsado 3.0 is, there is a lot to kind of wrap your arms around as far as kind of, really appreciating it for what it is. So I
Yeah.
totally fine if you want to go ahead and use Dubsado 2.0 for now. Go ahead and click that 2.0 button. All of your data will transfer back and forth just fine. So if you do something in 2.0 and then you want to go back into 3.0, it should be there. There's no problem with it transferring or anything like that. It's your same exact account.
I
Cool.
see there's a question here on calendar connection. We have the question, can you connect more than one calendar? The answer is yes. Currently, you have to do it in a little bit of a roundabout way. What you would essentially do is you would establish what you consider to be your primary calendar. Let's say in this case, it is your business Google Calendar. And then if you also have a Google Calendar that's for personal, like friends and family reasons, before even doing anything in Dubsado, you would actually connect the two and make sure that you are sharing all access and permissions from your secondary cal
Mhm.
into what you would consider your primary. Once you connect the primary to Dubsado, you can now have multiple available calendars to sync. So the TLDR of that is sync them before first and then sync them to Dubsado with the
Yeah.
primary cal.
Actually, I have a good example of that pulled up right here. So I
Yeah.
signed into my fake business's email account, 3Dubs Design. I signed into that account, but before I did that, I shared my work email with my 3Dubs Design email. And since I shared it externally, gave it full permissions, since I signed into 3Dubs Design, then I can use both of these calendars. Currently, I'm just choosing to not sync the secondary calendar, but I totally could. And you can have as many of these external calendars connected as if you want to. You can have 20 of them if you'd like. The only
Yeah.
recommendation is just to do import once. Otherwise, sorry, export once. There we go. If you export more than once, you'll get duplicates in your external account there. Cool.
Let's see
What else we got,
here.
Joe?
Let's see. Can you change the way information displayed on the homepage? So on the new sort of homepage dashboard, what you can predominantly change is whether or not something is visible and where it exists on the dashboard itself. So you'll see here if I hover over to the
Sorry, Joe. I'm stealing the mouse.
we've got two mouses going. The display settings. So just know that if it's something that's more important to you, you can prop it up to the top. Let's say you wanted to see a projects list, you'll be able to see that there, and then you can hide or remove visibility. One thing that I will say too is there are a lot of different things that are nested on the dashboard. So, for example, if you're someone that wants to take a look at something like your chart of accounts,
Mhm.
you can go down to your finance reports. I think that was another question actually. How do I see my financial reporting? You can click on that. As Trevor mentioned earlier, you can manipulate the date ranges, of course. And then here's where you would find your chart of accounts, for example, if you want to export that P&L, income tax season, something like that.
Exactly right. Or even just go ahead and add in a new category for income, taxes, expenses, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
All right. Someone had asked what do the different colors on the calendar stand for? Great question. So if let's go back into the events tab here. As I mentioned earlier, right, if I click the little filtering icon here in the top for all, right, so purple would correlate to leads, blue is jobs, this kind of orangey color is tasks, green appointments, red is your payments due. And so specifically payments due are your any payment plans that have a due date. So if you have a payment plan on an invoice where there's a due date set, that will then show up on your calendar. Generally speaking, if you can put a date on something in Dubsado, it will show up
yeah.
somewhere on your calendar. Just keep that in mind. And then this kind of yellowy is my external calendar, and then this is magenta, right? We I keep going on about this. I am pretty colorblind, so I can't ask Joe like, what color it is.
There's so many times he's like, Joe, that's blue, right? Or is that purple? So
Yeah, it's all
we
good.
work with
You,
it.
you do what you can with what you got.
Yeah.
So yeah, the magenta here for internal events.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can go ahead and select and deselect these just to customize your view there.
And then just to reiterate, I know one of the questions are where are the financial goals? If you want to prioritize the financial goals, you can make it a little more up prominent on your actual
Yeah, you
dashboard
just drag it up.
by
Exactly.
just dragging up here, and then you'll see that at the top, just depending on your preference.
Exactly right. Fantastic. Cool. We have another question here for how do we upload PDFs into a project in 3.0? Great question. So we can do it in a couple different places. Well, you said specifically a project, I guess. So yeah, we'll do a project. We'll do a project here. Let's take another look at our friend Olivia Turner. Go to the Forms tab. So from here, I can say add a form. And from there, I can say select a form templates. Oop, I'm sorry. It was the other way around. I want to go into the plus icon, right?
Yeah, this would be the
Oh, sorry, new form. There we go.
There you
You know, folks, it's so new, we're still getting used to it. Apologies. Anyhow, you click the new form button there, and we can go ahead and click PDF, and it's going to prompt me to go ahead and upload my PDF. And the process would be very similar in the main form templates area if you wanted to add a form template, a PDF as a form template, which you can totally do. I know some folks prefer to do PDFs in the project because it's specific to that one project, but if you have maybe like a pricing guide, which I see a lot of people do for their PDFs, you can upload that into your templates area just the same.
That's a good call out. I would say for PDFs and forms in general, for something like a PDF, if it's like a day of shoot guide, an event timeline, whatever the case is, if it's widely applicable, it might be more beneficial to add your PDF, as Trevor said, to your form templates. If it is client specific, add it directly to the project.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Any changes to the customer facing portal? At this particular time, all things client facing as far as the portal is concerned is completely the same.
Yeah, you can find those settings right up here in our client-facing settings, right? So if we go to Client Portal, you will find all the same options and settings that you were accustomed to in 2.0.
Yeah.
I think we will hopefully have some portal customization, portal just improvements in general on the horizon. But for right now, you're just finding it here in this settings area, but it's going to be the same as you were accustomed to there.
Yeah.
A good question here that I want to go ahead and tackle is let's go back to our time tracker that we had started here. So let's go back to invoicing.
Oh, they're so lucky. We didn't even resume.
Oh, yeah,
$23 is pretty good.
Joey was nice to you. He could have kept it going. It's like half the session. So anyways, we can go ahead and let's just say end session. And we can go into Dubsado 3.0 demo. If I open this guy up, we can go ahead and say add a project. Let's just say it was for Shelly. And then from there, we can go ahead and not do that. Click the three dots icon at the top and say apply it to invoice. And from there, I can go ahead and pick an invoice in Shelly's project. Hopefully that answers your question. But essentially, you're just going to be looking for those three dots icon at the top of the screen once you've ended your session, and it will go ahead and say apply to invoice.
Okay, we have another question. How do I go between 2.0 and 3.0? How long does my login persist? Great question.
That is a good question.
Now, between 2.0 and 3.0, if you just go to dubsado.com, you'll have a login landing page that will show you 2.0 versus 3.0. But if you're just a little bit more savvy, you can always identify if you're in 2.0 versus 3.0 by the URL. So app.dubsado is 3.0. hello.dubsado.com is 2.0.
And we can just say go back to 2.0 at the top of
Yeah,
the page
or
here.
or just do that.
You could do
Or
that.
just do that.
Yeah, if you notice at the top, we have
Yeah.
hello.dubsado.com. Here we are in 2.0, totally
Yeah.
fine. There's not a link to go back to 3.0, but like Joey said, if you're savvy, you can just go ahead and say app,
Yeah.
and now we're back in 3.0. Just that easy. So, like I said, whatever your preference is totally fine. We understand. It may take a little bit of time to go ahead and just really appreciate all the great newness we got going on here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. We got that question there. How do you edit the workflow email in a new card view? I only see the option to force, remove, and approve. You should be able to edit the email. Let's take a look. Let's go to not forms. Let's go to flows. Let's take a look at the pencil icon to edit this. Right now, I don't have any email actions in here, but I should be able to go ahead and add an email action. I think it should be in the right-hand view if you're trying to edit it. So if this was an existing flow that was already running, right, like I should be able to have like this
If
thing.
you would have clicked on one of these
Yeah,
properties.
we'll add this. So like, let's say it was in your flow here. Give it a second.
Let me see if I can field other questions over.
Sure. All right. I think my internet connection up here is really not liking the Zoom plus moving around quickly, and that's okay. But let's go back into one of the existing ones in here. See how it flows. Do I have any emails that have not been sent yet?
Delayed.
Oh, this one's not sent form.
Yeah.
I go ahead and edit this guy. If I click on this guy here. Oops. There we go. So if you're clicking on your action from the form builder here, you should be able to pop open on the right side. It's going to show you the details of whatever action you picked. And from there, I should be able to go ahead and update my copy. Right now, this is just the default send form email, but of course I could go ahead and pick a different canned email if I want to use one of my other templates. And I could also just type right into this window as well. And then at that point, I could say save.
Yep.
Hopefully that answers your question, but you should be able to do it relatively straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Cool. I see another one here. I've got a question about scheduler groups. In 2.0, you can set a maximum of 2 appointments a day, if that's what you set. What if I want 2 appointments to be the maximum for all appointment types in a group? I will say, as far as the client-facing scheduler functionality, apart from what you're configuring internally, is unchanged, but we are still absolutely in the process of iterating more further for client-facing aspects. So if that's something that is very, very important to you, I want you to be able to express that. We have a pretty great method of you being able to make a feature request, feedback, suggestions. I would say one of the best things about 3.0 is our ability to have quick turnaround on these kind of implementations is faster than it's ever been. So.
Exactly. And I think this is a really good spot to pause and mention all the different resources we have.
Yep.
If you're attending this session right now, you're attending one of these options, right? We have tons of demos. This is not the only demo we're going to do. We have more of these planned. We also have a really robust help center that can give you a bunch of information if you're looking for, written guidance. We have a really great just live events platform landing page that has all of our workshops and stuff on it, as well as YouTube. We have a variety of ways you can get help if you're looking for more guidance on how to get help in Dubsado 3.0. Hopefully, Angela or Annie or Jolena will link some of those things in the chat if they don't mind. But we'll happy to throw those links in the chat for y'all if you're looking for. Perfect. Fantastic. Thank you all.
Really quickly, someone said, how do I find packages? Yeah. It is nested in a completely different area. So I do want you to know, if you click on invoicing, you'll find your package templates and your payment plan templates here on the left side panel.
Cool. And then somebody else asked, can we rename event types? Were you referring to like the standard designation of these events? If so, the answer currently would be no. If you were talking about like a scheduled template event, yes, you can totally come in here and just type into the title of this and I could rename my scheduled template. That's a good question. We're coming up on about 50-ish minutes here, Joe. I think we'll take maybe a couple more questions and then we should probably call it there.
Yeah.
Sound good? I think there was, oh, here's a good question related to the calendar. We're talking a little bit about feedback and kind of iterating. Somebody had asked if in a project, rather, how we can go ahead and customize this details tab, right? If I want to change the color here. Currently, if you pick a selection, right, that's a custom selection for this project. There's not a way to set like a global default on what color you want these banners to be, but that's a great idea, honestly. Yeah. We can pass it along to the team. If you want to have maybe your banners defaults to your brand color, I love that. Why not? That's perfect. We do have a feedback form. I'm not sure if that's linked in the helpful links that were just thrown there in chat, but if not, I'll just go downstairs and tell Ben.
We'll tell them.
Exactly. Cool, that's a great idea. Let's go with one more question, Joe. Which one's the best one you see out of that? And while Joe's looking, I do apologize if we don't have time to get to every single one of your questions, and I really do appreciate all of the thoughtful questions you guys have asked so far today. Tons of really good questions, and I know there's going to be a lot of questions as we all kind of start using 3.0. But again, thank you all so much, and I do apologize if we don't get to your question today. We will have more demos if you want to kind of take another look, and you can also always send customer care an email.
I think we're okay. I think we're good to go.
Yeah? Okay, fantastic. Let's go ahead and stop our screen share and do a proper sign off. But again, thank you all so much for being here today. We really do appreciate it. It's been a blast, and so it's been a really good time and exciting to bring 3.0 to fruition, and I just could be more appreciative.
It's been such a journey, such a process, and we want to thank you wholeheartedly from the bottom of our hearts for placing an implicit level of trust, not only in Dubsado, but our entire staff. That is not something that we ever take for granted. And we want you to know every business owner we get to interact with is special to us. And we want to be able to make sure that we are giving you the tools, the confidence, the sweet new looking dashboard to grow and scale your business. So thank you so much, everyone.
Exactly. Thank you all so much again. And we hope to see you in 3.0. We'll see you on the next demo. We'll see you in chats, but we will see you somewhere.
Yes.
Thank you all, guys.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Have a good day.